Welcome to the Real Estate Show on KMED, AM and FM. Here today, Pete Belcaster and Joe Brett, the real estate guys, with you. And thanks for joining us. We love to talk all things about real estate. As you know, we do this every Saturday here on KMED. Of course, you can go. All of our shows are also available at youtube.com or at realestateShowOregon.com. So you can tell your friends. We certainly do appreciate that. Pete and Joe here, and May, we always say, April and May are the two busiest real estate months of the year. And I think that's bearing us out. I know you did our TV show this last week, and same thing, isn't it? I mean, it's a pretty robust world right now in real estate in Jackson County. And that has, I think, good things and really maybe not so good things as a result of that.
Yeah, I'd say the not so good things are there's some buyers out there just kind of chomping at the bit that can't find the inventory and can't get into the homes that they want to get into. They'd like to move things along even a little faster, but inventory remains pretty tight, like we saw by the numbers, Bob, and the median prices continue to stay on the rise a little bit, and hopefully that doesn't get too far too fast.
Well, Bob Gervais is here with us. He's the principal broker and owner at RE/MAX Ideal Brokers. Nice to see you. How are you doing?
Good to be here. Great. It's beautiful weather.
Snow. First thing Bob said, no snow. First thing Bob said, we still live in the best beautiful place in the world, don't we? And compare my son who lives in Texas, I get these texts they've had like 14 inches of rain where he's at, by Houston, and more coming. And it's just a crazy.
In California, there's no water.
The world's crazy. Also along today is Lee Davidson, who is the principal broker at RE/MAX Ideal Brokers, and Lee's got that great experience of being up in Josephine County, for a lot of years at the RE/MAX office up there, and knows that market like the back of her hand. And she's telling us already she's proud of the sales going on in Josephine County, aren't you, Lee, today? They're pretty darn good, aren't they?
Yes, they are. That's a great office there.
Yeah, well, it must be because they sell a lot of property. And the two markets we always talk about, Jackson and Josephine counties, they're alike and yet they're different, aren't they?
They're totally different, yes.
Yeah. Well, anyway, Bob is here as well. Bob, nice to see you as well. What, it's a pretty robust. Robust, is that a good word?
It is robust, but, sometimes it's good for some people and not so good for other folks. For example, for years, we were on the bandwagon. We said, as the market was very slow, we said, hey, guys, interest rates are low, prices are low, it's time to buy. Mm-hmm. And people procrastinated and didn't listen to us. And now they're out there looking. We used to get offers sometimes that were very aggressive offers, 10%, 20% below the asking price, and they would sell. Right now, the market is such that prices are up, and if you start hardballing an offer, particularly if it's $300,000 or less, you better be at or very close to or even more than full price to get it, because the demand is that great in that market.
In that particular area.
In real estate, you make your money when you buy, not when you sell.
Mm-hmm. No, I remember Bob saying that, Joe, for a number of years. Well, remember during this, was saying that you better buy it now because it will change. The market will change, and it certainly has done
back
that.
2 years ago at houses in the 175 to 220 range, they're gone. I mean, they are not at all the houses that they were.
I think yesterday there was like one for 200,000 and nothing less.
Jeez,
than 300,000, except that one, 285 or something like that.
But in your offices, so your agents are bringing, who's buying these things? Where's the price range that you're seeing most of these sales come in? Can you share with the kind of our listeners the kind of your feel of where things are? Who's doing this? Where are they going? Certain areas better than others right now in terms of rising prices versus still good bargains, because it seems like Bob says that's change. It's not the.
Go ahead, Lee. I'll let you go. And then I'll open up with my 2 cents.
Oh, no, Bob, I think you should do your 2 cents. No, sales are up. There are certain areas that they're not making as large of a percentage of increase. But basically on the general rule, pending sales in Josephine County are up 19.7%, and in Jackson County they're up 33.3%. From a year ago, so that's a good sign. Let's just not go up too fast.
A lot of sellers have gone into the game. They really have. They've been kind of biding their time, and they've they found that kind of a sweet spot to get in.
They have, and we're seeing properties selling for more than they're being asked
Right.
for.
What is the price range that of these 300? There were 332 of those sales that made that 33% increase in this county anyway. Where do they come from? I mean, are they? Tell me. You know.
Did you mean the buyers?
Okay, to start with it. Yeah, the buyers. Where are they coming from?
Well, there's some coming from California, but there's a lot from Washington, and then locally, they're buying. You got those USDA loans.
Is it 50?
Yeah.
Is it 50-50 or is it 75-25 in that ratio? What did you think? I've always wondered that.
I would consider it be 25% coming into the area.
Coming in from outside the area. Okay.
And then the rest of those people moving up
All right.
to a better piece of
We
property.
might not want that much higher, given the growth rate we're already looking at and the projections we've got for the future. And the new homes that we have to build to accommodate all those people
That's
and
true.
families.
That's true.
And rural properties with water are selling very quickly now.
The rural is a whole different topic, isn't it? In terms of what's going to
Hottest item
happen
in
with
the
that.
store, probably. For gross sales, I bet we see some really big numbers of people making plays.
Yeah.
Well, like I said before, at first it was apples, then it was Camas pear. Camas was king.
Camise pear. And now, what is it now?
then the vineyards.
Then the wine.
Then the vineyards, and now we have a new market opening up here, evidently.
A new cash crop.
Do you still think that the marijuana legalization is? Because I think it's going to change our rural properties. I mean, the values of them a great deal. Because remember, well, no, the difference. I mean, people don't. I say this to people all the time. They don't realize this. In Oregon is the only state as we legalize this product. I don't know what do you call it? The product is that in Oregon you can grow your own legally, whereas in Washington and Colorado that's not in those cases. That's going to change the way renters rent. It's going to change the way you buy and sell properties. I think I've got a book over here. I went to a class in the thing, and the PowerPoints are like 2 inches thick of all the different things that are out there, theories that are out there, Bob.
We're yet to see where this goes.
It's too new.
No, you're right.
Who knows?
Definitely big money is moving in and buying a lot of these.
And I don't think there's an
Really?
agent out there that doesn't have somebody that's called them looking for rural property
Yeah.
to do their thing.
And Jeff, last month on the TV show, Jeff from our Grants Pass office had mentioned that these aren't buyers coming in. These aren't people coming in with their checkbook to buy properties. These are LLCs.
Yes.
These are big money consortiums that have gone together, and they are trying to find the niche market to get in front of.
Well, I'm just telling you, I've said this, everybody sees dollar signs associated with this and all sorts of fronts, from local governments to state governments to individuals, to retailers, to cooks. I mean, you name it, everyone sees dollar signs associated with this, including real estate. And I don't want to say that that's not there either, because that certainly is too.
Just a reality.
But
of the
how
market,
this is going to be done is just... I mean, it's
Stay tuned.
What do you say? It's up in the air. It's whatever. So it's like buyer beware, I suppose. But things will definitely be changing, I think, in the future with it. It's been very fascinating to me. Well, anyway, we also had, in terms of new listings, you talk about how many listings were available, and that's really, it's even as it was a year ago. I might just say that during that period. Days in the market, Lee said, even though they're buying, it's still higher, 61 days. It's almost 2 months, so you need to know that. Average, it's the average, is what that is. And are they getting the sales? Of course, it's different prices, but almost 96% right now are getting the list price that they want.
Yeah.
So
Or
that
more.
is or more.
Yeah.
So I'm
Yep.
sure some are higher, a few are lower. Huh?
And even if the appraisal comes in at the asking price and they've offered more, they'll bring the cash in.
Yeah.
Have you seen? We've had issues. Some of the people have talked to us about appraisals that they haven't been. They've been. It seems like the market is ahead of the appraisal.
Yes. Always is.
Always is. And that in that case, here comes you get an appraisal that doesn't meet what you've offered. The bank, and so are you still seeing that happen, or is that leveled off a little
The
bit?
real estate business is always in the tip of the arrow, and the appraisers are the feathers at the end of the arrow. Because appraisers are using 6 months worth of comps, and the market may be changing monthly.
Yeah.
And it has.
Yeah, it is. And it is.
And it is.
Yeah.
I have to say that along with the prices increasing, and we're saying, shame on you, you maybe should have purchased a couple of years ago, but still is a good value. One thing can change very, very rapidly, and I think I could be safe to say that it is going to start to change because of the history of the stock market. When the stock market gets a little volatile and that sort of thing, you're going to see a change up or down. And what is in the stock market is the bond market, and the bond market is volatile also. And this is leading to higher interest rates, and we have seen a little bit of a tick up. But ability for people to make their payments is what they're buying these houses for. When that interest rate goes up by a point, and instead of 4.5, it's 5.5. Although we know historically that's still a fantastic interest rate, it's going to affect the payment on that house substantially. Maybe $500, $600 a month.
That's buying power.
And that's buying
that
power. So it's kind of crazy. We want it to be strong and we want it to sell, but we don't want it to go not so like it did in 2006.
Too far, too fast.
Too fast.
Are there similarities, Bob, to that you're seeing, Lee, in the market right now compared to back in the day, I guess it was?
Well, certainly lenders have
Lending is different.
The way you do lending now is a little different. But, there are 100% loans out there right now. And there are some non-income qualifying loans.
no doc loans
No doc
out there.
loans.
Wait.
Where'd those
What do you call doc loan?
No.
What'd you call
no
it?
doc.
No
documentation.
It's like you got
Sign a piece of paper and say, I make $100,000 a year.
You got all
that.
Yeah.
They're doing that again?
They're doing that again.
So I can
and
say
adjustable rates.
We could say we make big money like you.
Who are you looking at? Because is that really true? You can say that again because that's what's got everything in trouble. You couldn't.
Yes.
You had to prove that you were making, and you could do that. Correct?
Well,
wow, that's scary. I hope that's
the lenders that, of course, want a favorable return on their investment. So you're going to pay a much higher interest rate for that.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. What else? Anything else comparing to that? I know back then I wasn't a broker then, but there was double-digit increases in values going really high year after year after year. The market cannot sustain double digits. Correct?
No.
Is that fair?
People, we still have people coming and buying homes and painting them and fixing them up and putting them back on the market. But the amount of foreclosures, which was the target for so many investors, that inventory is just basically shrinking up. So there's not that many great deals out there. I mean, if you're looking for a house, for example, that has a little bit of acreage, maybe acre or 2 acres, and you want to spend $150,000, you probably need a major renovation on that property.
Is that right?
Bring your hammer.
That's how far that's come from.
It probably needs a foundation and a roof.
Yep.
Well, see that's what happens to us, and that's where we are.
But that's where the
we know.
opportunity may lie for the folks that have that wherewithal, and you could take that on.
Yeah, well, like I said, real estate's good for some people and not so good. For the people who lost those homes, that wasn't so good. But for the people that bought them, fixed them up, and resold them, that was good for them.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, I was recently on the Oregon coast and drove by a subdivision that I thought was one of the most. I should have taken some pictures of it. I didn't even think about it, of course, where you had some nice, very large, I guess, large family homes. You had a couple of some duplexes in it. You had very teeny tiny homes. We were talking about those kinds of. There's this mix of housing in this small area, and I thought of that. Is that where we are heading? Because you just can't keep building new homes in the $300,000-$400,000 price range, can you? Because who's going to? You have to have. Don't you have to have other homes for cheaper than that? Don't you have to do that?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what scares me. Where are we going to put everybody? Not building any apartments. I mean, what's going on?
The amount of land, the size of the lot is going to be smaller, and the size of the home is going to be smaller. Instead of a 2,500 square foot home, you're going to be seeing 1450s.
Yep.
Right in that neighborhood.
And like lot size, is that shrinking then over time too? Because like what, a 0.10 acre lot is generally, I think, the smallest. Isn't that the smallest that I've seen? I've never seen anything lower than that.
You'd have a small house on that.
Yeah, but I mean, can you get
small
even
duplex.
smaller?
Yeah,
Is that
really
what you're
small
talking about,
duplex.
Bob?
Yeah, sure. You can do 0 lot lines.
Yeah.
And a 0 lot line, for you guys that don't know this, it's kind of like a townhouse with a common wall running through the center.
Okay.
And
yeah.
that is where the property line is. Runs right between the common wall. Is a common wall of 4-inch space and another wall, and the property line theoretically goes right through the center of that. So they use the same size lot, only they build two sellable.
different places.
Two different tax
and there's a
lots.
number of those around. Yeah. Well, I wonder where it's going to go. I mean, we got a break coming up here. It's really changing, as you very well know. And I don't know.
I want one of those little small houses across the street from Beverly Beach State Park.
Yeah?
I'm interested in that you saw up there.
go live by
that would
yourself
be a great
there.
little coastal home, a little 400 square foot.
No, my
home in
goodness.
Happening.
All right. Well, the real estate
I
show
could do
rolls
that.
on here. We're
I
with
lived
Bob
in a dorm.
Gervais and Lee Davidson from Remax Ideal Brokers today on the real estate show. Lots of good information going on about the market. We're coming right back after this. The Real Estate Show rolls on here on KMED this weekend. Pete Belcaster and Joe Brett, the real estate guys, with you here on May the 16th. Thanks for joining us. Gosh, lots going on, that's for sure. We're with Bob Gervais, the principal broker and owner at Remax Ideal Brokers, and Lee Davidson, the principal broker out there as well. So, Joe, I can say that I did something that I didn't think I would ever do. You know what? You know what that is, but
you have a new
it's-
status.
Well, I wouldn't call it that, but you and I became brokers almost 9 years ago now. And anyway, so I just passed my principal broker's exam.
Congratulations.
The state and national test. And Lee says to me, "What'd you do that for?" You know, kind of thing. Like, that was the first question. You know, why did you do that? What'd you do that for? Gee, Lee, thanks. Congratulations.
I'd like more complication and headaches in my life.
Yeah, just kidding.
Anyway, so I sure learned a lot, though. The questions are hard. I'm telling you. You know, they try to trick you on those things. I hate.
They test your knowledge.
They test your knowledge. They do. You know, they really do. Anyway,
So you've got to introduce yourself as your principal broker.
I have to remember to say
right,
that now,
because
don't
I don't think you said that off the top
No,
of the show.
I didn't, did I? Anyway, anyway, next week here we're going to talk about property management. But today we are talking about the current real estate market and everything going on around it in Jackson and Josephine County with Bob and Lee. And of course, they're right in the middle of it because Remax obviously, well, when there's 330 sales going on in Jackson County and then there's a bunch more in Josephine County, you're like one of the top brokerages in the counties. You got to be smiles on your faces, and that's exactly what you have because you're right in the middle of this thing, right,
I
Bob?
smile all the time.
Yeah?
What are you talking about?
Yeah. But that's a good sign, right? I mean, I kind of think. Well, I always ask Bob. Remember that Joey asked us, "How is the real estate market?" You know, we always get that question, don't we? I mean, you and I, people always ask us that, and Bob has that answer, you know, and you better answer it right because he's also, you know, an instructor in real estate, everything.
So tell them,
And
Joe, what are
so
the
Joe-
four
Yeah.
things?
How is the
Joe.
real estate market doing today? How is the real estate market?
I don't know,
Joe?
Pete. Are you a buyer or are you a seller? Or maybe an investor?
Or
Or
he hates to
he
say that.
couldn't remember it.
Say that
renter,
word. Go
or
on.
a renter. He doesn't like the renter. Anyway, so that's really true because the real
Let's try
estate
to
market.
convert renters.
Yeah. Well, the market is different for each of those things. So let me just give you a quick thing here in the show. I'll give you a chance here to tell people, Bob, how's the real estate market doing, and answer your own question there in those particular areas because some people want to move now. Some people may not want to do something right now. Some people may want, you know, whatever. So tell us about how you answer that question and answer the question. How's the real estate market? If I'm a buyer.
Oh, it's great. Just kidding.
That's not the right answer.
The market is different for me. Having two offices, one in Grants Pass and one in Medford, and of course, Ashland is a total different market, and Shady Cove is a totally different market. And because of the nature of my franchise, the way it's crafted, everybody has a different type of contract with if they're a franchisee.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they do things a certain way. So I wanted to service the entire Rogue Valley, which, in my opinion, included from Ashland to Roseburg and from Crater Lake all the way to Coos County, all of that area. And I purposely did not move into the Ashland market because there's a very few agents doing a lot of volume, and my business is based on having numbers of people that do not necessarily huge volume, but a good volume. Okay, so I found that there's actually two different markets in Grants Pass and Medford, and one offset the other. So oftentimes when it was slower in Medford, it would be faster in Grants Pass, which would act as a rudder for the Medford office, and vice versa. When Grants Pass offices were slow, Medford was doing well. So together they serviced the county well and gave us a good foundation of financial support. So that's how I look at the overall picture of here, real estate here locally. And then, of course, we became very diverse, offering different types of properties available for sale. Everything from ranches to hotels and RV parks and rural properties. And, so when you offer enough items on your menu, you're going to help somebody.
And the diversity keeps a lot of different, I guess, things go up in the air all the time because you can withstand one or the other. If you commercial real estate is down, I suppose, the residential may be one or the other or something like that, or even the I know you don't. Why do you include renters in your assessment? Let me ask you that. If I was in your class, I would say, why do you include renters in the real estate market?
They ask me least how the market is.
Or renters.
They're definitely a part of the market.
Yeah.
Right now, if you told me you were renting, guess what I would do?
You need to get into
why rent when you could actually buy a house and pay less than you're currently renting?
Yeah.
I mean, in East Medford right now, to get a 2,200 square foot home, you're looking at $1,700 on the east side, $1,750 or something like that, or sometimes even more.
In terms of renting.
Of renting a place.
And that is sometimes if you can find one, too.
There are none.
They
don't exist.
Yeah.
Dan, my client that's got the property on Barbara Jean of 5 bedrooms getting $1,800 now.
He's getting $1,800 rent?
A month,
That's for that. Well, but some people can't. I mean, I understand some people can't own. They're here for whatever reasons and stuff, and renting is important. But you got to have a balance in I guess in the stock.
Well, if you're
I guess I've never seen a business quite like real estate that is so much supply and demand oriented, isn't it? I mean, there's no cut or dry. It's either this or it's that, right?
Well, you can have a flat market too.
Okay.
A stagnating market.
Yeah.
We haven't seen that in our nearly 10 years.
But that's not,
We've seen the most volatile times in real estate in most of our adult lives.
Most importantly, the reason you asked about renters is we are predominantly in real estate sales, not property management as a company. I wish not to do property management simply because I don't want to get calls at 2 o'clock in the morning saying my garbage disposal is broken.
Ye of wisdom.
However, we're in real estate sales. And if you're in real estate sales, then the question that is the most important question you have is, are you planning to move, or when are you planning to move, or how soon do you need to move? And then somebody says 6 years, they're my friend, but they're on the back burner over here. If somebody says, I got to buy a house in the next 24 hours, they're my new best friend.
They go to the top of the list there, in terms of attention. Yeah, I suppose that's true.
And they're probably signing papers shortly thereafter.
Yeah. Well, all right, go ahead, Lee.
A lot of these younger couples, that with the USDA, no down loans, they can get into some of these smaller houses without having to have a great deal of, like $10,000, $20,000 to get into the house.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good program.
We had Peggy Argo from Access was with us on our show last week, with Rogue Valley Association of Realtors, and talking about there's not those big incentive first-time homebuyer programs, that we saw back in 2007, I guess, or 2008. They're just not there, but they do have some education programs that you can do. But first-time homebuyers is pretty tough right now, especially Bob's saying the price range that most can get in is being difficult. Well, I was at the Ashland meeting this week, I should say, and I was surprised at the prices, the increases that are coming on the boards of new listings. It's really. We definitely see a change. I remember when it got below 200,000, there was really a very strange thing. Now nothing's below that.
Did you
So
happen
it's-
to see the TV show we did this week?
yeah. I was gone most of the week.
Are we having a deja vu?
I'll send him the link.
Well, but
What'd you say?
Brad was there.
Brad Bennington.
And Brad was saying the dirt to build homes is rapidly going bye-bye. And
Okay.
the
And
dirt,
prices are going up.
and we have 3 major builders that have come from out of the area into the marketplace, and they bought up a lot of these lots or pre-sold.
That were in bankruptcy. A lot of the old subdivisions
exactly,
that
and
didn't go.
they were completed but not paid for,
Right.
and so they bought the lots inexpensively,
Yeah.
and that's reflected in the prices at this time. The minute we start to have the new development going in, they're going to pay the real dirt prices, which means prices are going to even go even higher.
Even higher. Well, there's only so much land around, isn't it? It's buyer. You got it. You get it while you can. No, true. Well, the Real Estate Show. One more segment to go here with Bob Gervais and Lee Davidson. I want to talk to you about new realtors in the business. That's an interesting topic as well. We're coming right back after this. Real Estate Show continues here on KMED for May the 16th. Pete Belcastro with you. And hey, thanks for joining us on the Real Estate Show. We're back with you, of course, next Saturday as well. We're talking about rental property management and what's going on with that with All Cities Property Management. Also, check out the Jackson Soil Water Conservation District. Don't forget they got the camps coming up. JSWCD.org is the website there. And check their classes. You know, what's interesting is the district has come along. Those classes fill up now all the time. And so there's that much interest out there in rural properties of people wanting to learn how to be good stewards of land and water. I mean, with everything else going on around it. Well, just to show you how crazy the market is, or not crazy, how robust it is, just in the key box activity, I don't know if that's really a big indicator of anything, but I'm curious as to it would be up like almost 10,000 key box openings. Just that shows you just how a lot of agents are out there. A lot of properties are being shown in Jackson County, Josephine counties. That's really quite a remarkable number. Anyway, we're with Bob Gervais, the principal broker and owner of Remax Ideal Brokers with Medford and Grants Pass, and Lee Davidson, who's the principal broker at Remax. And you know, it's well, it'll be interesting to see what happens the rest of the summer, and who knows, but. I know that there's still a lot of activity and a lot of people still moving here. As Bob always says, we still live in a wonderful place, and it's a desirable place. And when you travel, I tell you, I've been traveling quite a bit lately, and I can't wait to get back here because it is. There's trees and green and beauty and all that kind of good stuff. Yeah, so I appreciate that very much. Okay, what about as the business picks up? I've noticed that a lot of new people are becoming brokers, have become brokers. Tell me about what's going on with that. This is a tough business. I mean, in a lot of ways, I found. I mean, it's very competitive, and it's not.
Not for the faint of heart.
It's not for the faint of heart. And yet, when Joe and I came into the business in 2007, you know, the roof had caved in, and so we saw a lot of grief on a lot of people. That's changed. So tell me what's changed, Bob, with that, and why new people are coming in to be brokers, and that's good for this business. You have to have new people. So tell me what's going on with all that.
First of all, it's good for the area, and that is every time a house is sold, it will involve about 26 families, either the roofer, the drywaller, the painter, the carpet guy, the escrow officer, the lender, and all of that money stays right here locally. So it's important that we have some form of growth. It seems like in life you're either going forward or you're going backward, but you're very rarely standing still unless you're ill or something of that nature.
And we're still feeling the effects, aren't we, then, of the recession, which didn't allow any building, everything stopped.
Everything
so
stopped.
Are we still in that trying to catch up to that? Is that why we have such the supply-demand issue right now?
Yeah, that's true. It's a shortage of supply. When you have a short supply and a high demand, it becomes a seller's market. Vice versa, it's a buyer's market. So it's a seller's market. So as we were explaining in terms of numbers of agents in the marketplace, when we went into the quote-unquote recession, if you would, we saw a lot of the younger folks that work for us and other companies have to leave the business. They had been in the business long enough to do some business, but they weren't in business long enough to develop a
big enough base of clients to sustain them.
Correct.
Okay.
And so they just weren't making the money that they needed to make to support their families, so they either moved to a different area or they went out and found another career that they were interested in. In this area, the average income per family is about, according to the stats that I read, right around $30,000 or $35,000 a year, which is pretty tough.
That's nothing. Yeah.
To make a living.
It's slow. We always say that, yes.
And a good real estate agent could do way better than that.
Well, compare our valley, economically, we talk about this on our show, compared to Portland, where you're seeing, et cetera, et cetera. Heck, even in Reno, this last week when I was there, Tesla Motors is building a $5 billion gigafactory, they call it there, that will employ 6,500 people with paying jobs in the 70 to 90,000 range.
And that's of course what we need here. We need jobs for our youth.
We need
but that's
jobs, yes, absolutely.
That's a whole other issue.
Whole other topic.
So what's happening now is when the times got tough, all the youth left a bunch of older, more seasoned, if you would. I'm trying to be politically correct here. Real estate agents and who are rapidly reaching their downside of their career. They're not expanding; they're just coasting, or they're looking forward to a retirement scenario. And so it left a big void. And whenever you have a business, you want people to be able to carry on your business. So you need to introduce new youth into the business and train them and so on and so forth. And so because there was such a huge void in that area, we have been actively hiring and training new folks. And several of the other brokerage firms are doing exactly the same thing. So we've got a new group of younger people who are a pleasure to deal with, because they are not looking for, at least the ones that come to work for us, they're not really looking for a job. They're looking for a career.
And that's a very big difference, isn't it? There is a difference there. Yes, difference, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the commitment they make. I mean, a person with a career, once you're a doctor, whether you're retired or not, you're always a doctor, correct? Once you're a realtor, you're always a realtor. It's in your blood, and if you really like what you're doing and you're helping people and making a living at the same time, what a great place to be. I mean, there are tons of people out there that have jobs that they actually hate to go to work and do.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
How long do you tell people when you counsel people, Bob, about how long it takes to get up and running enough to where you can feel confident enough of what you're doing? As you take your courses and you bring people in, because you're right. I mean, there's so many rules, so many things you have to know, and so how do you counsel those? First
of all, any problem is easy once you know the solution. So, it was once act of an actress who was retired, 67, 68 years old. Wouldn't she like to be 21 again? And her response was, not unless I can take my brain with me.
Yeah.
So training is really important, but it also varies based on the motivation of the agent.
Absolutely, sure.
If they have a winning attitude and you got the good attitude, positive mental attitude, you take those arrows, and that's just part of the part of the game. And
you're teaching these people you were getting your experience and your years. You're teaching these agents yourself how in the business and how to go. What a great head start it is for them to have someone like you doing that.
And
I will
twice
say
a
that.
week he does it.
Twice a week you're doing that. Well,
in both offices.
It's paying off. How many millions of dollars did you write in business this last week? My goodness, that's pretty good, I think. Whatever you're doing, keep it up, right? That'll do it for the real estate show.
My bank account looks like a ready teller. What are you talking about? In and out.
That'll do it for the real estate show. Have a great week, everybody. Thanks, you guys. God bless everybody.
Thank you for listening to the Original Real Estate Show with Pete Belcastro and Joe Brett, the Real Estate Guys. For advice, guidance, or counsel on any of our topics, or to watch a replay of today's show, visit our website at realestateShowOregon.com. This show is sponsored by RE/MAX, Ideal Brokers of Southern Oregon, Ticor Title, All Cities Property Management, and the Jackson Soil and Water Conservation District. We'll continue our weekly quest to enhance the value of your property and to make you a smart real estate consumer when we gather every Saturday and Sunday on KMED for the one and only original real estate show.